Hey guys, how's it going? Eli here, back with another video where today we're going to be having a conversation on if the bear market has officially ended in the Pokemon card market. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So as always, got to get out of the way. We're doing weekly giveaways. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed to the YouTube channel and leave a like and comment down below on any one of the 3 videos we post each and every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You will be entered in to have 3 opportunities, because we have 3 winners, to win 8 Fusion Strike booster packs each, on top of the fact that you can enter multiple times by commenting and liking on each of the videos. Of course, you have to be subscribed in order for this to also apply, but with that being said, kind of goes, you get 3 opportunities to win and 3 opportunities to enter, so you have many opportunities to win packs. But now that we have that kind of out of the way, and I'll also say as we continue to grow, we'll give more and more packs. Next milestone is 2,500 subs. But getting that rant out of the way, getting into today's topic, this is one that I usually do a video update in regards to the market, but I want to say once a month at this point now. Most of my videos are like, my kind of picks for investments, or we take a look at certain things specifically going on in the market, such as reprints that's affecting things, or just any general news with upcoming sets. But like I said, about once a month I kind of do a breakdown of everything going on in the market, and sentiment is ever changing. One of the things that I've heard a lot, I saw some people that I follow, like Rudy from Alpha Investments. I've seen people as well, like Danny Phantom, just other YouTubers that have made videos addressing, their personal opinion on what's going on in the market. But more specifically, I'm going to be targeting the Rudy with Alpha Investments video. And this is kind of like my more response video to what he's saying, but just a general market breakdown. So for those people that, didn't watch his video, don't watch him, or just have the general question of, is the bear market over? In his video, a lot of the times I want to go off by saying, it's kind of interesting. We mirror a lot of the same kind of, thought process in regards to what's going on in the Pokemon market. I remember I made a video saying that the Pokemon bear market has just begun, and then he made a video literally 2 days later saying almost the exact same thing, and I thought it was kind of ironic how we mirror each other. However, we're going to have a different situation where he thinks that the Pokemon bear market is potentially over, or at least it's found its bottom in Ultra Modern, and I am going to be giving my counter arguments to why I don't think that is, and to kind of say, hey guys, let's hold the brakes just because products going back up as it stands right now. We've seen this before, so don't get your hopes up. So the first thing we're going to take a look at, because I love showing you guys my forms of information as to where I get, my data for my personal beliefs on this. Pokemon Google Trends. This is one of the pieces of information we've been using a lot because it does a really good job at tracking the overall volume of search history for certain things. If we look at Pokemon cards, we can see the overall history from 2004 to present. Many people have been following my channel. You see me use this chart a lot. It's one of my favorite charts to look at because, funny enough, it has been extremely accurate in kind of calling overall patterns in regards to what happens in the, macro trend for the Pokemon bull/bear market. So obviously, as you guys saw, when taking a look at the overall 5-year trend, we saw that going into, what is this? About start of 2021, end of 2022, you saw it's kind of peak out of interest over time. This is, if I'm correct, is interest in over by the millions, or it's just a general, population like scale. Then, we saw what people thought was a potential bottoming sometime in September. This is kind of when we saw actually a absolute dive after Evolving Skies leading up to celebrations, and then after that you saw a huge amount of reprints. People of course then saw a potential demand rebound, and then starting into the year the demand kind of died out again. Now of course this is going over the macro kind of biggest time frame scale. We can start looking into the past 5-year time scale. It looks a little bit different. It looks a little bit choppier, and then if you want to look at the 12 months, it looks even flatter. So it looks more or less like a consolidation period. Now, of course, when you look once again at the higher time frame, you can see to yourself this chart is still going straight down. And this is a concept that we're going to actually look at with some of the other sales data from individual booster boxes I'm going to be pointing out. But one of the things that I try and talk about when looking at general data is general data for trend analysis is there's these concepts called higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, and lower lows. So very basic understanding is when you see an uptrend in a market, typically what you want to see is you want to see it try and attempt an all-time high like this. So you see all-time high in demand, then it pulls back and it has a little bit of a reprieve. Then you see it then shoots up even higher, breaks its all-time high again. Then it has another little reprieve, and that reprieve is a higher rate of demand than the prior one. Then you see ultimately the kind of parabolic bounce or, upward momentum, and that's typically what you see in an uptrend. This is called a higher high, and this is called a higher low. Progressively, the overall demand continues to grow higher, and progressively, the lows of the demand, or the pullbacks, as a lot of people like to call it, tend to also increase with scale. Now, when talking about the same concept with a bearish market, it's typically the exact opposite. You are seeing a high, and then it hits a low, and then a lower high, and then a low, and then a lower high, and then a lower low, and keeps going. And then you see this kind of play out, obviously, through however long the market timescale is. And then it usually ends with kind of like a really slow, stagnant kind of bleed out of the market before you start your next cycle. Taking a look, of course, going back to the 2004 to present chart on the overall macro scale when looking at, the monthly is what we'll say, because this really goes off of how the overall, demand looks from a monthly perspective. Each and every month is what one of these dots represents. We can see that we are still in a downtrend. Now, of course, with that being said, you can see that we had a bottom here. We're going to retest the bottom in overall demand just in Pokemon cards in general. This is not talking about Ultra Modern. This is just Pokemon in general. Of course, if you could see a potential bounce in this, then you could see a potential recovery in the market. But I don't know about you guys, when it is pointing straight down, that is usually not a very bullish sentiment in overall demand for a market. Of course, once again, going to keep saying this. This is for the search term Pokemon cards, which is a very broad term, so it's not specific just to Ultra Modern. It's not specific to Wizards of the Coast, just a very general broad trend. So, of course, with the video that Rudy made, one of the biggest things that he was talking about was specifically the Ultra Modern and why he thinks, taking a look at Evolving Skies as one of his kind of arguments as to why he thinks the overall bottom has been in, because the balance, because of the kind of volume that you've really seen increase with the price of the booster boxes. And I want to kind of point to something that a lot of people are really missing out on in the bigger picture of Ultra Modern that kind of distinguishes its differences between the reason why it's called Ultra Modern to begin with compared to Modern. Honestly, for those people that don't understand what Ultra Modern to Modern is, typically the comparison is it's the Ultra Modern's the set that's still in print, and Modern's the set that is the newest set that just went out of print rotation, if that makes sense. So typically most Sun and Moon era sets are considered to be part of the Modern era. They're not having their booster boxes being reprinted. Ultra Modern still open to reprints. It's kind of how you want to look at it. So we're going to look at some historical data information, and once again, kind of taking a look at some of the charts of Ultra Modern product and making predictions based off of that, or at least predictions in my personal opinion on why I think the market is definitely not ended its bear market. Like I said, I could be wrong. We could have found our bottom, but we're going to look at some of the data. So for those people that were not there during the time, when Evolving Skies, or sorry, not Evolving Skies, when Vivid Voltage, and first off, all this information is being found and compiled on Pokedata.io. If you want to check out, you can check out their website link at the top. They have a really good website with a compound of information that you're able to go and check out and see a wide variety of sources of information that is validated. So one thing I will comment about it is if you do see some kind of difference in prices, because I'm also going to show you some of the TCG charts, that mainly is because Pokemon data takes the averages versus TCG obviously typically has a premium. So we'll look at that when looking at the charts. But as far as it goes, if we take a look at Vivid Voltage chart for the price of the booster box, on their website, they're still a pretty brand new website, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But the price of the Vivid Voltage booster boxes for those people that were there during that time, like myself, they were going for, at the official first release, for around $86 to $90, right? So 86 to 90 bucks. And then over time, once you start to look at the start of 2021, about the April is when you see its high. It starts hitting at around 235 bucks as its ultimate high. So then with that, absolute skyrocket amount of demand still for Pokemon sealed ultra modern product. Obviously the rest of the market started to slow down, but ultra modern was still leading the charge for the bull market. You saw a reprints come out, or a wave 2. With that, you saw an absolute tankage of pricing where the product dropped all the way down from, 235, 40 bucks all the way down to as low as 117, as we can see on this chart right here. So basically cuts the price in half by, 50%. With that, we then saw a gradual climb of the product where, of course, once again, looking at this chart, it says we got to around 150. If you want to go off the premiums on TCG Player, it got up to around 170, depending upon how you want to look at it. With that being said, of course, going from 120, 170, still, that's almost a 50% increase. Then we get, whether you want to call it wave 3, whether you want to call it another reprint, I'd say it's more of a reprint than wave 3. You then saw the price start to dump all the way down, and it got to the low 100s. And then if I'm correct, it actually went to below 100 on TCG Player. Yes, it did. It did break below 100 bucks. So with that being said, we've obviously seen it slowly climb in price. And so the question, of course, when looking at a product like Vivid Voltage, for example, you say to yourself, does this look like an indicator of a bullish chart now that it is starting to, climb back up in price again? Going off of the argument that I just made with the general Google Trends chart, we can say to ourselves, it is making a high, then a low, then a lower high, and then a lower low, and now it is in trending motion, determining whether or not we're going to make a lower high, aka, in my personal opinion, if it tops out at some point, around 150, 140, and then it drops to that kind of baseline. And that's the thing I will also want to say with Ultramodern. I think it has a little bit of a baseline, so it can retest the bottoms. Bottoms are going to be more likely to be found than tops. Of course, a lot of this is also contingent on reprints. Everyone wants to look in the grand scheme of things and say, hey, there's a huge demand for Vivid Voltage. There's a huge demand for Evolving Skies. These sets are popular sets, and for that reason, they're going to have, at that $100 price, sit around for X amount of time until they really start to pick back up steam again. But since these are ultra-modern sets, they are still at the mercy of reprints from the Pokemon Company. And regardless of whether you want to say, okay, well, each one of these is affected by reprints or not, of course that is true, each and every single time, it has still followed up with it retesting, or at least going in an uptrend that doesn't ultimately result in it getting to its highest point. And then when it does retrace, it retraces lower than the price before. That really just shows you a general weakness in the overall market. So with that being said, that is still just showing signs that, hey, this bull market that people are expecting us to start to jump into within the next couple of months is just not going to happen, in my personal opinion. Of course, I could be wrong. Who knows? Within the next year or so, you could see the price, retest that $170 price point, and I could be completely wrong. But in my personal opinion, I don't really think you're going to see much kind of change in the overall market in regards to products retesting its all-time highs until 2023 when looking at Ultramodern, because these cards are still going to be a part of that printable set. Of course, that's not to say that Vivid Voltage will or won't get a reprint, but transitioning into another set, which is where we're going to be making this kind of analytical trend comparison to, is Evolving Skies. And so if we take Evolving Skies, for example, we can take a look at it on Polkadata as well, and then transition, of course, to TCG Player to compare the premium prices. We can see that, the price of back when it first kind of came out was around 122. And when I say first came out, just so that people know, I'm not talking about prior to that, because if you really want to look prior to that, it was doing, this is pre-order prices, right? I want to talk about release prices because that's the most accurate. It's going for as cheap as 115 here, and as we can see, it was going for as cheap as around 125 right here. So then you started to see it climb. This site we're talking 172. Here we're talking about almost $200. 189. I mean, you know, almost 200 bucks. So you saw it hit that high point. Then going back to the chart, you saw it almost hit that high point. It started to, you know, go down, hit about 112 at its low. And what's actually kind of fascinating about how you want to look at this is a very interesting kind of topping formation. So you have that 170 price, you see it slowly go down, you see it, you know, slowly go back up again, you see it hit a low, slowly, you know, kind of flatlines, and then just absolutely goes down, and then it starts to climb again. Versus if you look at it from the, you know, kind of price action of what's going on with TCG Player, you're kind of seeing a lot of the same thing. You see it hit that 125, go there, absolutely dump off. Then it looks like it tried going back up again, and then it just continued to dive down, and then it's following, you know, with continued action upwards. Now, for a lot of people that have asked me this question many times, and I've said the same thing, of course, in response to, is there going to be Evolving Skies reprints? My personal opinion, it just makes sense for them to continuously reprint a very popular set based on the historical trend of the Pokemon Company. Two main reasonings behind it. One, looking at competitive format. I've made in-depth videos you can go take a look at when I explain what I mean by that. And then two, Pokemon Company prints to demand, and so this is a set that is in very high demand. So more than likely, if I'm going to be using my big old crystal ball, which of course is not 100% accurate because I'm still human and I'm just giving you guys my opinion, we could potentially see, and of course, this is not financial advice, this is not financial advisor. I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen, but I'm saying that if we follow the same kind of price, you know, analysis of what happened to Vivid Voltage, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw the price of Evolving Skies go all the way up to 160, 170 TCG Player standards. Average on this site probably around 150, 160, because there is that difference of a premium when looking at the overall averages. eBay brings it down, other sources of information bring it down. So I wouldn't be surprised next $10 to $30, give or take, depending upon which site you're looking at. It kind of goes upwards, and then you see a Evolving Skies reprint. You know, of course, we can always go back and we can look at this video and say, hey, Eli was right, because, you know, he just realized that there's just a historical trend pattern in regards to how the Pokemon Company likes to print things. Or we can say, man, Eli was an absolute idiot and he has no idea what he's talking about. And the price ends up just continually to skyrocket, and the Pokemon Company says, yeah, we're never going to reprint Evolving Skies again. Like, you know, I could be right, I could be wrong. We won't know, only time will tell. But I'm going to go off of my bias of what the charts and what the history of the Pokemon Company has done over the past, you know, 5-10 years, historically speaking, when looking at reprints going back to as far as Roaring Skies and Primal Clash. So, of course, once again, just transitioning into the main bigger picture of, do I think the overall market of Ultramodern has found its bottom? You know, I think there's an argument to be made. Like I said before, you're going to see a lot more flat lines in regards to a lot of the product finding its bottoms, because I like to go off of wholesale prices of what I'm buying booster boxes for from my distributor. I know some people can also buy it cheaper, so $82, $86. Once you hit that kind of range for like what you saw with Battle Styles, Chilling Reigns, I think that's going to be around their bottom. Now, of course, if a, you know, if a reprint were to happen again, or, you know, the demand really starts to just slide off, you could hypothetically see it drop below $80, but in my personal opinion, I think that would be a fluke. I think if you're getting in at around that wholesale level prices, I mean, you're getting in at an amazing price when we're talking about those sets. Now, of course, with Evolving Skies is a set that is a little different. It's way higher in demand. So for the longest time on my YouTube channel, I wouldn't shut up telling people $100, $100, $100, $100. Once I hit that $100 mark, I said, now's the time to buy. If it gets below that, then guess what? You just got an opportunity to dollar cost average. That was something I was saying, something I was preaching. If Evolving Skies is another reprint, does the same thing, then guess what? That's going to be the main and ultimate key kind of component on, okay, now's the opportunity to get in. And I wouldn't be surprised too if it does get that ultimate reprint, hits that 150 mark, 160 mark, gets that reprint, potentially goes below sub $100 off of it, depending upon how big the reprint is. Could be off base. It could go back down to 120 and make a higher low. It could go to $100 again and just retest the low, and know ultimately $100 is that kind of settle out low. But, you know, personal opinion, end of the day, you know, you got to take everything that happens with Ultra Modern with a grain of salt, because it is in that era of reprints, and the reprints are ultimately going to affect the market a lot differently. So yes, of course, in response to Rudy's video, when saying, okay, the bottom's potentially in, you can't say that the market's over from downwards price action when there's consistent reprints happening each and every day. We got Shining Fates reprints that were just announced. We got Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes that were just announced. We have potential, depending upon how big of a reprint, based on, what I heard from information from a distributor on Rebel Clash booster box reprints. We've got Elite Trainer box Sword and Shield reprints. We've got Darkness Ablaze booster box reprints we just had, and it looks like they just added some more. Like, guys, there's just reprint after reprint after reprint after reprint. So it's just, in my personal opinion, a little bit of a quick assumption to really jump out and say, oh my god, Evolving Skies went up like $40. Should I panic and buy in now? I told people when it was at 120, if you want to, you can get in at this price. I'm not going to fault you for it, because it's probably going to keep going up. And if it does top out at 120 and goes down, you can always dollar cost average. I never faulted people for it. I said once you start hitting that kind of MSRP price, that's when I said that I was starting to get a little skeptical on whether or not it was worth it, because when you really think about it, from a $144 drop all the way down to 100, the overall price change that you're going to be seeing in your, let's say I have $1,000. If I have $1,000, they're all going for 100. That's 10 boxes. If you're saying to yourself, $1,000, they're all going for 150. Kind of just make it plain and simple with the math. You're getting several less booster boxes in your overall, price average of what you're buying things for. And so you're actually going to be, making less money in the long run if we're looking at it from an investment perspective. So that's why I think it's very important to not have those emotional feelings of, did I miss out the boat? Is it, now time for me to FOMO in and get it at a higher price? Because one of the biggest things that I myself have learned, and I've talked about this in some of my other videos on my mistakes that I've made, and I see a lot of people make as well, is people tend to get emotional and miss out on opportunities, or think they're going to miss out on opportunities, and then jump in late and then end up getting screwed from it. Understand that markets, whether it be stocks, whether it be cryptos, whether it be Pokemon, there's always opportunities in the market. And if you get in at that perfect opportunity, then congratulations. But always let the opportunity present itself and be patient. Think about it, guys. You hypothetically, let's say you miss the vote on Evolving Skies and Evolving Skies go to $200, right? Well, we know that Brilliant Star is going to have a wave 2, and the prediction is wave 2 for Brilliant Star is probably going to drop the booster boxes down to 110, 100. That's a great spot for a really good up-and-coming set that could potentially be one of the best sets for 2022, and it's the first set that's going to come out. So once again, you say to yourself, miss the boat on Evolving Skies. Brilliant Stars is going to be the next Evolving Skies potentially when it comes to overall price analysis. Not to mention the fact of the matter, Shining Fates. A lot of people felt like they missed the vote on Shining Fates Elite Trainer boxes. They're like, man, it's, moving up. It's almost $80 now when, it was going for 50. It's gone up, it's gone up like 60%. I absolutely missed the boat. That's a bummer. Guess what? We just got those reprints. Another one's even crazier too. We're going to go to the Pokemon Center. For those people that don't know, the Pokemon Center just made an announcement just today, I think it was, that they are going to be having Celebrations Elite Trainer boxes available on their site. It's going to be going in and out of supply from now until the 26th. So if you want to take a look right now, we'll see if it's available. Yep, it is available for order. You can have a limit of 10 that you can purchase on the site. I myself actually bought 10 more because I wanted to double down on it. But that's kind of them telling you, hey, we didn't know if this was going to be out of print or not, or if they were going to stop doing it. Obviously, this is a celebration set, so it is one of those kind of, once in a, 25 years kind of deal with Pokemon. So they're going to be adding more print of it. The set itself came out back October 8th. I mean, you want to do the math, November, all of October, all of November, all of December, all of January, and then leading into February. We were looking at about 4 or 5 months since the initial release. So you got to be saying to yourself, like they said in their email, I don't have the email to pull it up, but they had announced, it's probably everywhere, other people will talk about it, it has been officially made that once it hits the 26th, they're done with these. That's what they said. They said that until supplies last or until the 26th. So if you want to have an opportunity to come in, get in some, really, highly, in my personal opinion, valuable investments for the near future, you're going to have these opportunities elsewhere. It's not going to be just one of these things that you're going to FOMO because things went up in the short term. You're going to have to be able to be patient and look at these other opportunities in the market. Obviously, you've heard me talk extensively how I think about Brilliant Star Elite Trainer boxes. Same theory goes with these Pokemon Center celebrations. And as I've said countless times and times again, just because it's available and it doesn't sell out in 5 minutes doesn't mean it's not a bad investment. If anything, that means it's a great investment in regards to when you look at the prior demand in the bull market eras. Because in the bull market eras, these items were selling out in 5-minute drops, 2-minute drops, 1-minute drops. And now they're sitting up for, multiple days, or they're selling out in, several hours and then getting restocked a couple days later. Like, guys, you have to understand that what Warren Buffett said, one of his favorite lines, is be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. When you're in a bear market and you see the supply come up on the market, that's when you buy. When you're in a bull market and you see everyone panic buying and you see the prices continuously climb, that's the time to sell. And obviously, as I've talked about in a lot of my strategies, you can really play the market's hand in regards to these reprints when it comes to being in a downtrend. You can always make money in a downtrend. You can always make money in an uptrend. My personal opinion, you're going to make more money in a downtrend than you are an uptrend because you're going to be able to play the reprints. If you had gotten it at Evolving Skies, right, back when it first came out, pre-order 120, 115, sold at 190, rebought back at 100. And you're at a point right now where it's sitting at around 145, 150. Let's say it gets to 160, 170. Boom, you just made an absolute killing. And then it gets another reprint. You're just playing the waves. Even though it's making lower highs along the way, you're continuously increasing your bankroll as the overall market continues its downtrend. And then once it's finally hit its bottom, ultimately, that's when you hold on for your dear life. You play that HODL life, and then you just watch it rocket, because that's just how this game works at the end of a bear market. At the end of a bull market, it always ends in a whimper, and at the bear market, it always ends in a roar. That's just the general philosophy when it comes to general market trends and analysis, because it's going to explode once we do finally see that bull market. But you got to be patient, guys. You can't FOMO in because you saw a little bit of price action. And that's just going to be my general piece of advice for this main video. Don't be emotional, be patient, and of course, understand, my personal thoughts. My opinions are my personal thoughts and opinions. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your research, and if you agree with me, great. If you disagree with me, please let me know why, because I love to hear other people's opinions. So just kind of wrapping up the video, giving once again the main points, because this video is a little bit longer than usual. My rational reasoning for why I think the overall bear market is not over, or at least we haven't, seen. This is just kind of a little bit of a fluke retrieval in regards to talking about ultramodern specifically. We can do a whole different video about, WotC and everything. One, looking at the trend analysis with Google Trends and what we've seen historically, still going down, still in a downtrend. And then two, comparing Vivid Voltage historical price analysis and comparing it as well to Evolving Skies and how we are still making lower highs and lower lows on an overall macro trend. So once again, of course, final thought to the final process of this video, always look for opportunities, don't be emotional, and make sure that you bide your time. You make sure that you're doing your research in regards to what you personally believe, whether it be, taking advice from me, or whether it be doing your own research on what you think is a good opportunity to invest in something, and give a rational reason, a backed reason, a statistical reason on why you think it's going to do well, and not just based off of your overall emotions. But as far as it goes, that is all I have for today's video. As always, we're doing weekly giveaways. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed to the YouTube channel, leave a like, and comment down below on any of the 3 videos we post each and every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to have 3 winners. Each winners get 8 Fusion Strike booster packs. Of course, once Brilliant Star comes out, we're going to be giving away Brilliant Star packs, so super excited about that. On top of that as well, you have 3 opportunities to enter, because if you just comment and like on each video, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that allows you for multiple entries. So, but as far as it goes, that is all I have for today's video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Until then, I will see you guys on Friday. Peace.